I'd like to call to order the City of Apache Junction Council meeting. The invocation will be led by the Vice Mayor Rizzi and the pledge by Councilman Evans.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of being gathered here today to do the city's business on behalf of our constituents. We ask that each of us be guided by you in the decisions we make that will affect others and not by any personal agenda or ego. We ask to be humble in our disagreements and that we never forget we are here to serve the people of this beautiful community. Father, we send our condolences and a special prayer for the Ramirez family as they grieve the senseless loss of their family member. We ask for your continued protection over our first responders, those serving in our military, and their family members. We ask that you bring them home safely each and every day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Present.
Councilmember Evans,
Here.
Councilmember Nesser,
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Okay. On the consent agenda, as a reminder, all items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request must be made prior to approving the consent agenda and move to new business. And I myself are going to remove number 4 in this, the flock part of the agenda, and move it to new business. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented with pulling number 4 for further discussion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi.
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excuse me. Proclamation recognizing the week of May 11th as Peace Officers Memorial Week. I have a proclamation here. Whereas police officers of Apache Junction have worked devoted and selflessly on behalf of the city of Apache Junction people, regardless of peril or hazard to themselves. And whereas officers have safeguarded the lives and property of the Americans, and whereas by enforcement of our laws, some or the same officers have given to our city and county internal freedom from fear, from violence and civil disorder that is presently affecting other communities and nations. And whereas these men and women, by their patriotic service and their dedicated efforts, have earned the gratitude of the city of Apache Junction, the county of Pinal, and the state of Arizona. Now, therefore, I, Chip Wilson, Mayor of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona, do hereby proclaim May 11th through May 16th as National Public Safety Peace Officers Memorial Week. I also proclaim May 15th, 2022, Peace Officer Memorial Day in honor of the federal, state, municipal officers that have been killed or disabled in the line of duty. Police Chief. going to change it, so. Okay. You're going to have another one.
I think we're hidden. We're okay.
You want to say something?
I don't know.
Thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity to be here. As we do go into this next week, it's one of those weeks that we in law enforcement, we know is an important week. It's a reminder for us of the dangers that our men and women in law enforcement face. This last year, there were over 24 police officers in law enforcement here in Arizona that lost their lives this last year. They were honored on Monday, and it's very, for me, an honor to be here to represent the Apache Junction Police Department and the men and women that are out there every day. So thank you very much, Mayor, City Council. Appreciate your support.
Thank you. Okay, regional intergovernment updates. Do we have announcements from?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay, and I was supposed to do one and I forgot what it was, so. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bryant Powell, City Manager. And I just wanted to say and be the first to congratulate Rudy Esquivias as the new Development Services Director. He was just ratified. And I just wanted to share a little bit about Rudy. To you, he's known, right? You've known him for a long time, has been here. But to our community in this role, it's a great opportunity for them to get to know him. He's been with us just under 33 years. Wow. He's seen the city grow from its roots to a thriving area that we have today. He's a native of Nogales, Arizona. Esquivias started at this, right out of school with his Bachelor in Design and concentration in Urban Planning from Arizona State University. Has been with us that entire time. When he was going through the process of the recruitment, one of the things that I want to acknowledge and share with you is that he has extensive interaction with all the disciplines within the city government, including building, code compliance, zoning, administration, short and long-term range planning, but also all the departments that interact with the planning department. And so that helps him just immediately jump right in and be able to interact in that way. In addition, of course, he's been in the community for so long, knows the interaction that has to happen with the fire department and with other agencies like the school district. So I'm pleased to present to the community Rudy Esquivias. If you can please come forward and just say hello to you all, and maybe you have a couple of questions you'd like to say, and Rudy, congratulations.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here, very happy to embark on a new, exciting opportunity, new challenges, new adventures, new development, lots of growth. Happy to be part of it and happy to serve you, happy to continue serving the city. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Or anything you want to say.
I just want to say thank you in the aspect, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Congratulations, Rudy.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say congratulations, and Rudy, it's been a pleasure working with you. We, on planning and zoning, we used to always laugh because it's in your blood. This stuff is second nature to you, so you speak so quickly and rattle off the facts so quickly. I remember we used to always say, Rudy, can you slow down so we can get it in? But congratulations, I couldn't be happier for you. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say it's about time.
Yeah. And you're still willing to stick around after all these years.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Rudy. Yeah, we'll just maybe turn the slow down because he goes, a little bit.
He just knows it so well.
So, awesome. Yeah. You have our tremendous support, Rudy, and we got a lot of great things ahead of us. I'll turn the time in my report over to Al Bravo for current events.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Al Bravo, Public Information Officer for the City of Apache Junction. A couple of things to be aware of. Right off the bat, this week is Municipal Clerks Week, and if anybody was really wondering what a municipal clerk does, well, here you go.
There you go.
We'd like to thank the League of Arizona Cities and Towns for sending out that video that they put together to mark Municipal Clerks Week, and our illustrious clerk, Jennifer Pena. Thank you. Couple of events coming up this week. Sunshine Acres, the thrift store that they have, this furniture store that's on the trail that supports that particular facility, is having an event this weekend. I know a lot of folks in the community are taking part in that, and I believe a few of us are going to make an appearance, so you are all welcome to join us on Saturday morning over there on the trail just east of Meridian, where their furniture store is. That Treadathon, don't forget, is a week after that, next Saturday, a week from Saturday, May 14th. That's right here in the City Hall parking lot, 9 to 11 a.m. Next week is Free Dump Week for those of you in the City of Apache Junction within the city limits. Those who need to go to the dump, they can take a truckload full of garbage to the landfill for free from next Monday through Saturday. So you can always go to our website at apachejunction.az.gov for all the details on that. If you have not been paying attention, our new dog park, the Dutchman Dog Park, just opened over the weekend. I think that's what the mayor was going to mention, because, of course, we had, excuse me, our leash cutting. It wasn't a ribbon cutting, it was a leash cutting. On the 21st, and then on the 30th, we had a celebration of our grand opening. So the dog park is now open on the corner of Superstition and Idaho after many, many years of planning and hoping and wishing. And we know it's already become a very popular place. Those are your announcements for tonight, May 3rd, 2022.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment concerning the dog park. I mean, you go drive by it early in the morning, and you'll see not just one or two dogs out there. You'll see several dogs out there with their owners. And right now in the evening, you'll see them out there, and it's fantastic to be able to see them out there. And I appreciate Liz and all Parks and Rec people that had to work together on this and put this all together. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Okay. Public hearings. Consideration of proposed ordinance number 1523, case number P22-10-PZ, on proposed planning development major amendment requests by
Axiom.
Axiom Care. Kelsey.
Good evening, Mayor. I just wanted to point out that both items on the public hearing are for one project, so I believe you can have one public hearing for both.
Okay. So I'll read the other one then as well. Public hearing and consideration proposed resolution 2214, declaring as a public record that certain documents filed with the city clerk's zoning conditions in case number P22-10-PZ under ordinance number 1523. So we'll do both of them. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Kelsey Shatnick. I'm a planner on staff, and tonight's presentation is a plan development major amendment request by Axiom Care. Axiom Care's current facility is located at 150 North Ocotillo Drive, which is just north of the northwest corner of Apache Trail and Ocotillo Drive. The current zoning on the property is General Commercial by Plan Development, or B1PD, and their request is to amend the current plan development on the property in order to construct a new 3-story treatment facility. In terms of the surrounding zoning on the property, there is residential properties to the north, west, and east of the subject site, as well as commercial to the south. Just to give a little bit of background history on this property, there are currently 2 buildings out there. One was constructed in 1960 and is identified by Pinal County as an office building, and the second was constructed in 1978 and is identified as a group care home. And in 1996, the Superstition Mountain Mental Health Center, which was a lockdown facility for the seriously mentally ill, processed a rezoning to expand their facility and rectify a missing conditional use permit. That rezoning was approved, but the proposed building was never constructed. And then in 2020 and 2021, Axiom Care, which is a substance abuse treatment facility, obtained a business license in order to operate at that property and submitted for a preliminary development review in order to expand their facility. So here is the proposed site plan for the property. The 2 buildings highlighted in orange are the current facilities that are out there today. This one to the north currently houses 24 detox beds, and then this kind of on the eastern part of the parcel provides admission to detox as well as office buildings for staff members. The new 3-story treatment facility is located just west of that existing office building and will provide an additional 24 detox beds and 36 residential treatment beds. Here are the proposed elevations for this new facility. This structure, again, is 3 stories in height and then is exactly 38 feet. As you can see, this modern design contains multiple material types such as stucco, stone veneer, as well as metal paneling. In addition to this new facility, Axiom is proposing a new monument sign, additional landscaping throughout the site, as well as upgrades to the existing facades of the buildings. The applicant is only requesting 1 deviation from the zoning ordinance. They're requesting a building height of 38 feet. The maximum building height in the B1 zoning district is currently 35, so they're asking for an additional 3 feet. In terms of public input, the applicant held a neighborhood meeting on January 25th. As far as I'm aware, they only were contacted by 2 individuals. One just wanted to know information about the project, and the other was a neighboring business owner and wanted just to know how it could impact her site. And that full report was provided to you in your staff report. As well as the neighborhood meeting, a sign was posted at the site. Notices were sent out to property owners within 300 feet, and the case was advertised in the newspaper. Staff has not received any comments or questions regarding this PD major amendment request. With that, staff recommends approval of P-22-10-PZ, subject to the conditions of approval found in the staff report. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any initial questions you may have, but the applicant is present and they do have a presentation.
Your Honor.
I don't have any questions.
I have one question. It's just a curiosity question, though. A while back, we had passed an ordinance that, like, the new commercial, we'd have, like, artwork in front of the business. Is this something that is involved with this?
I don't believe that is a part of this project, as far as I'm aware.
So it's not part of the project, not that it's not supposed to be there?
I'm not sure I'm familiar with the artwork.
Maybe Matt can clarify for me, but this is a residential, so it's not.
Well, you're referring to the arts
Right, does this
fee
yeah.
that for public arts, correct,
Sure.
Councilmember? Yeah.
Part of the
yeah.
commission?
Yeah,
I mean,
typically that's, Rudy, if you have the insight, if you're getting up to answer, you can answer it. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Schroeder. The public art fee will be assessed at the time the building permit submittal comes in. The art fee is basically 1% of the total permit fee, and according to our public art regulations, the developer has the option of either providing a piece of art on site that is at least 1% of the value of construction, or they can donate to a public art fund, and those funds would be collected and then later used to provide a piece of art somewhere in the community.
Okay.
So we don't know what that total value of the building is going to be yet, but it will be assessed.
Okay.
Thank you, Rudy.
Anyone else have any questions?
No.
Okay, is the applicant here wanting us to make a speech? Or a speech, just talk about it, I should say.
Presentation.
Presentation, there we go.
Good evening, no speech, I promise. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council, I'm Tom Galvin with Rose Law Group on behalf of Axiom Care. It's really an honor for us to be here tonight. This is a special kind of project that we usually don't work on, but we think this will be extremely beneficial to Apache Junction. Because tonight, this application is about saving lives. Governor Ducey said in 2017 in his declaration of an executive order of opioid overdose epidemic that this is a major problem confronting all of us Arizonans. In fact, last year, 1,998 people died in Arizona from opioid overdoses. That's 5 people per day. Substance abuse and addiction are some of the biggest causes of chronic homelessness and incarceration in Arizona. But Axiom Care is an innovator by utilizing a method called therapeutic community. This will make substance abuse treatment more accessible and effective. Axiom Care's therapeutic community is a groundbreaking new model of addiction treatment. This facility will provide a safer and sober community environment where patients can receive treatment and develop new healthy habits before transitioning to long-term housing. But there is no one-size-fits-all solution to addiction. But we're glad to say we have community support. We have support from Governor Ducey, State Representative David Cook, Pinal County Attorney Ken Volkmer, and other prominent members of the community. They've all expressed that this type of facility in Pinal County is very much needed and long overdue to address the community's growing substance abuse problem, and in fact is a problem that's affecting communities across the United States. Now let's talk about the facility. We want to thank staff tonight for their excellent work in cooperating with us and providing very good questions that we're able to answer, and I really want to say a gratitude to Kelsey tonight for her presentation as well. But let's talk about parking. First of all, Axiom Care Facility has unique parking requirements due to the nature of the clients that they serve in the community. At first, when we approached staff's initial comments suggested that a parking calculation should be for what's considered a hospital, which is 1.5 spaces per bed, which would require 126 parking spaces. But we talked about how Axiom Care has residents who have to stay in the property, and that was too much and that was an onerous. So Axiom Care's traffic analysis showed that the proposed use is similar to that of a nursing home. And staff agreed. Axiom's use resembles that of a nursing home, which would only require a maximum of 1 space for 3 beds. This would require the site to provide 28 parking spaces, but we're happy and proud to announce tonight that we will be providing 41 spaces on the site plan, and staff agrees that is ample parking. Let's talk about the building and the facilities. You heard tonight a very good presentation about the chronology of the property. So in April 2020, Axiom Care began operating on this site. There's a larger existing building on the north end that currently holds 24 beds. This is medical subacute detox facility. There's a smaller existing building that's used for admissions and for staff offices. It's for administrative purposes. The new 3-story building will provide another 24 beds for a detox program and 36 residential treatment beds, which brings a total of 84 beds into this entire site, which is sorely needed for this community. This amendment is required for the new building location, allowing an increased building height from 35 feet to only 38 feet, just 3 feet more, and a reduction in the required on-site parking calculation that was similar to a nursing home. These are all in conformance with codes in the general plan. The site was designated by the city's own general plan as commercial. This is a 2-acre site, privately owned, surrounded by commercial property to the south and residentially zoned land to the west, north, and east. The applicant is requesting minimal height increase from 35 feet to 38 feet, and this allows these 3 stories to provide very good hospitable care, and I'm using the word hospitable to make people feel comfortable when they're in the treatment. And the neighborhood meeting letters and city public notices mailed out, and there was no public input received to date, aside from the 2 you heard earlier tonight about Kelsey. These are the 3 criteria for our request, that we match all of them, and you are very well aware of that because this is city zoning code. And this is the elevation and the rendering that we're proud to show you tonight. Thank you so much. And Christine Stevens from Axiom Care, who's just amazing and does amazing work, will be able to answer any questions you might have about the operations itself. Thank you.
Okay, so you want, yes.
Yes, I have a question, please. You just said that your facility will have 84 beds that are sorely needed for this community. So what you're telling me is that you expect that most all of the people you will be assisting will be from the community of Apache Junction?
Not necessarily, but I think Christine will be better able to serve that answer for you and to better
Okay,
give
well,
you.
it's a two-part question then.
Okay.
That if most of the people that will be using this facility are not from our community, where are they coming from, and why aren't you building in that community instead of here?
Yeah, no. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. So, I think when we first came to Apache Junction, it was really the building that drew us here because of the use and the way that it was built and designed. Had a kitchen, had anti-ligature bathroom, and shower and door jams and some of those things. So it was really the building, even though we had been looking at Pinal County and going into, because there's lots of treatment centers in Arizona. So that's really what drew us here. I think what's really kept us here, and yes, I would say most of the people that come to our facility actually aren't from Pinal County, if I were being honest. But what happens is we bring them in, but we also ship them out, if you will. So what happens in drug and alcohol treatment is somebody will need a subacute medical detox. That means that they're ingesting a substance that if they don't have medical supervision while they're coming off of that substance, they could die. And those are the people that we treat today in the facility as it is. This 36-bed residential is going to let us take some of those people and then put them in a step-down level of care where they can go to residential level of care and they can get more one-on-one. It's educational, psycho-ed, process groups with licensed therapists so they can really learn about the disease of addiction and how it is that they can move forward in their life without the use of drugs and alcohol. So it's going to let us right now, everybody that goes into residential treatment, they are sent out. We have tons of discharge planners. So everybody has a discharge plan that starts the second they get there. And then when they get done, they either go back to their family, if that's their choice, or they go to another local residential drug and alcohol treatment facility. Did that answer your question?
Well, it answers the basic question. I
Okay.
just have to think about it.
Yeah.
I've got a few questions. Do you know where the nearest facility similar to this is? How far away is it?
So the nearest facility is a facility called Unhooked. Unhooked is on Power and Broadway, I want to say. They have 8 detox beds and 140 residential beds. So they have a very small subacute program, and we do get a lot of their detox patients, and then we send them right back for their residential treatment to happen there.
What's the average length of stay? I know it's individualized, but
5 to 7 days in detox.
really?
It's a very short stay. It's considered the highest level of care outside of a hospital, so it's subacute instead of acute, but it's a very short stay from a access or Medicaid perspective. Once that urgent, emergent, length of time is over, then they need to step down into a lower level of care, which would be residential.
With the parking, will that be shared by residents and staff, or did you give us numbers just for residents?
Yeah, no, so residents in detox and in residential treatment are not allowed to have cars on site.
And I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Do you have these facilities in any other city in the valley?
Well, we currently have a 24-bed men's residential drug and alcohol treatment center on about 12th Street in Osborne, and then we have this 24-bed detox.
So the current property is this is what you guys have been doing here at
Yes.
this property? This is your,
Yes,
and you've been doing exactly what you intend to continue to do, but with a new building?
100%.
Gail?
I am just thrilled that someone's here doing this again. I don't know if everybody knows, but the one building was originally our jail. And
Didn't know that.
to say that it was dismal inside was being kind. So I'm really thrilled that someone is in there trying to do this. And I think a lot of people don't understand, detoxing from alcohol is most serious. And you can die from alcohol. And if you don't have a place like this to go, you can go into Mesa and go to CBI for anything. But to have something here, I really wish you a lot of luck.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Evans, I appreciate that.
No more further questions?
No.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so we're going to need to have a motion for,
Yeah, get a public hearing.
public hearing. Okay, first off, I got to go back to my notes here. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on these items? Yes.
Which one?
George Schroeder, 2444, West Virginia. Again, my throat, so bear with me. It's going to be up and down and scarce and chalky. And I went to the P&Z meeting. It's great. 40 years I've lived in this area. 20 years every day. I've lived on the streets with these people. I know their hiding places. I know their habits. I know what they need. I know what they want. I know what they don't want. They want somebody to tell them what to do. And they go into these facilities, all full of piss and vinegar. I'm going to get straight. I'm going to get straight. I don't know what the percentage is. I think it's low. I have some experience in this area. But the couple of things that keep getting to me is the security. When they don't want to be there, they're out on the street. It's not up to the police or anybody else to come and get them and take them to wherever they came from, if they haven't already been in AJ. Like you say, it is a draw from outside of our community. I don't know if it's an extra expenditure. I think it is, because of the police and all that. Security, inside and without. It's never been anything. You just go and push them from one place to the next. Listen, that's been going on for 60, 70 years. They just keep pushing them. I changed the jail locks with my friend Seth in 92 and that. Anyway, the area has always been a drug area. What are we going to stop and say, hey, I want this facility. Don't get me wrong. But I want our neighborhoods and the people in it, which didn't get much of a notification about any of this. We don't get notifications about anything. I don't know what you're sending out there, but we don't get them. So we really need this, but we need really charged people who want the best interest of the whole neighborhood, not just the bottom dollar. And I'm afraid some of these people, that's what they want. I don't have anybody in particular, so that's what happens in this type of business, this industry. It's all money laden. Here you go, but don't bother us. And that's sad. So I'm interested in our neighborhood. I need the police to pick these people up when they decide they don't want to be helped or be there anymore. They'll just camp right outside on Ocotillo, Palo Verde, Saguaro. This is drug alley. Always has been. We always have had the highest per capita drug addicts and drunks per capita of any city in Arizona. Please don't think I'm wrong. I tried with my criminal justice degree. I went through all of these statistics. So it is true. Now, I want them to be able to inform law enforcement, community services, that these people are not participating anymore. Get them to where they need to go, get them out of our community if they don't want help. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Donna Carr. I'm an Apache Junction resident, and I do believe that we do need this in Apache Junction, and I think we need it a lot for the Apache Junction residents, not people from outside the area. I know people who have gone through this, and just to say, there is a place on Javelina, on Mesa Drive in Javelina, and it is a holding tank. They sit there for 3 days in a reclining chair before they are processed to get a bed. So, you know, these people go through a lot. And over the years, I have taken in a total of 6 teenage boys and 3 teenage girls that were not mine. Why? Because the parents didn't want them. And the thing is the people who are on alcohol do need help, but it's not just to detox. They need help for the first 30 days. And even some people can't make it for 30 days, or they make it 30 days and then they drink again. On the East Coast, we had programs like Marathon House, which you could be court-ordered, or you could sign yourself in, and you could end up there for a year and a half. You help to do the chores, you help to do other things there, and then from there, they help you to get a job. Once they feel that you can be a productive member of society, that's when you get to leave. So if they can help them get past not just the detox, they need more than that. And that facility is over by my house, and just a question I have here on the facility is there is a water place right there for people to fill up who live at the foothills. It's sitting right in front of it. So the picture looks beautiful of what the area would look like, but there's a water machine right there where these guys come down with their trucks to fill up their tanks to take back up to their home. So.
Yes.
Charles Beal, Lot 21, San Marcos Crossing. I read through the Axiom review here and looked it over, and I thought it was a great fit for the community. As we grow, we're going to have these things come into the community, so we have to be prepared. One of the things that I haven't heard, though, was about security. They talked about safety a few times through the presentation, and I'd like to understand the security aspect of the site. Are there cameras? What's the plan for the site from a security perspective? How does it impact the community from a safety perspective? Are they just going to release these people into the community, into the neighborhoods? You know, I really love to see something like this built, but I do have concerns. Thank you.
Nita Solar, 220 East 13th Avenue. I also agree we do need this facility, but the facility that you mentioned on Power and Broadway, that's where our dentist office is. And I think if we're going to do this here, they need extra security. At the dental office, they've had break-ins, they've had people sleeping on the bus stops there. My husband is a Mesa police lieutenant, so our dentist is always calling him saying, we're having this all going on, there's homeless sleeping on the benches. So if they are going to do this facility, I think they need outside security. They should not depend on the Apache Junction police to be there. They already have enough to do. So they should hire outside security, somebody to make sure that they're not loitering in the property and causing any break-ins to the homes nearby. Thank you.
Mahmoud Muhyiddin, 2304 North Cortez, Mayor and Councils. That's a great facility what they're trying to build. Is going to support the Apache Junction people, the growth going on, more people is going to come in, And we always have a problem in people in Arizona with the drugs and all that stuff. And if they are serving the outside of Apache Junction, consider this one as saving the humans' lives. That's the most important thing, to save the people's lives. And would highly recommend this one. People have a concern about the safety. If they open it up, there are issues. There's a police department and the city can get involved in it. Ask them if they can provide the more safety footage or cameras or install or somebody. That would be a great thing to make sure the community is safe and people are safe. Thank you.
I have anyone else that wants to speak? Well, I'll close the public hearing.
We have one more, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
And then I think
Sorry. Two more now, okay.
Good evening, my name is Dirk Begeman. I live at 1522 East 22nd Avenue here in AJ. Some of you have a mistaken idea of what this facility does. I know. I went through a facility like this 30-some years ago. This is the first step in becoming a productive citizen for some of these people. And I just talked to the administrator, and I think Chief Pooley can confirm this. They've only had one incident where they had to involve the police since they opened. I don't know too many other places in town that have the same kind of record. I think this is a facility that's needed, not just for our community, but the surrounding community. And if you don't go with this, you're going to have more issues than you think you have now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nola Perkins, 145 South Palo Verde. I totally agree. This is a great facility, and I'm excited to see it come to our community. I totally agree with the comments people have made about the security. I think that is a serious consideration. And the other thing I would like to see is some kind of a priority arrangement for people from Apache Junction and Pinal County. I don't want to find people in our community needing help and the facility being full with people from other communities. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I would like to see. Thank you.
Daryl? No? Okay. I'll again ask, anyone else like to speak? All right, I don't see any hands or anyone moving, so I will now close the public hearing. Does the applicant want to answer any questions concerning the security?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. We take our security very seriously as well. We invest in artificial intelligence cameras that we have all over the property. Even today, it'll recognize if somebody's coming with a weapon in their hand or some large object, and it'll alert staff. We have 24-hour awake staff, including RNs, and then we have lots of support staff that are also awake. We have rounds that we do inside and outside of the building, and we definitely take our security very seriously. We don't want anyone to get hurt. Staff, clients, we don't want anyone to get hurt. We're in the helping business. So we'll do whatever we need to do. To answer the question about Pinal County, I think one of the things that we are definitely looking at, we're not a huge company. And so we just hired, I think it was in mid-January, a marketing person. And one of the efforts that she's doing and she's putting together is outreach to the homeless. And so doing so in Pinal County is a big part of what we're going to be doing this year before this new building even gets built. And we want to serve this community very much so. We have a 24-hour line that people can call, and they can come in any time. We also want to work more with law enforcement to let them know that they can bring people to us when they have those people that would need our services. So we're definitely committed to that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joel,
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
may I inquire?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think there's some misunderstanding here. when someone is brought to the facility,
Mm-hmm,
they are assessed,
mm-hmm,
and then they stay a certain amount of time. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And at that point, are they released on the, okay, and do you also give them rides to outside of Apache Junction?
Absolutely,
Is that the majority of your patients?
absolutely.
Would you say 90%?
Not more than 90%,
Okay.
Yep.
And you do have cameras
yes.
in your facilities, correct?
Inside, outside,
And they are monitored 24 hours a day?
4 hours a day.
So it's a very secure facility?
It is.
Thank you.
Mayor?
I have one question. So, because most people don't realize that that used to be our psychiatric hold hospital, when you said that the police are going to be able to bring people over there, is it just for detox or to decide if they're decompensating in some other way? Do you also diagnose for that?
Yeah, so I think that there kind of in lies the rub. We did some outreach with the police here in Apache Junction. We did some meetings, brought some donuts, hung out with them, talked about needs, those kinds of things. And, and you know, I get that as police officers, what they need is to clear a call. So if they have somebody, they have to know that they're going to be able to clear that call and go to the next person that needs their help. And so it's a challenge when we can't just take everybody, and today, with the size that we are and the 24 beds, we can't just take everybody. But we will be able to, right? Because when we have a bigger building and we have more staff and things are you know, bigger and kind of better and more secure, you know, all of the things. We have all of the pieces and parts, including this residential treatment. Then if they bring someone to us and we can't help them, we'll get them to the next place. So we're making all of those connections now, whether it's a psych, which is a higher level of care, or it would be a commercial insurance issue, because we only take Medicaid. We don't take commercial insurance. But we're making connections with those commercial insurance companies so that when we do get someone that we can't help them because we don't take their insurance, we can get them physically to an outsourced referral. And so we're making those connections now. We've been doing that for the last 9 months, and it's going really well. So we'll be ready to do it when we have the new building.
So your goal is eventually that the officers will be able to place them there and leave?
As long as substance use is in there somewhere, and it's not, you know, harm to self or others, because there's a protocol for that. And there's people that they can call that can come help if it's that kind of a situation. But anything below that, even if they were a danger to themselves or others after they came to us, we'd still be able to get them to a psych facility from our place, because we have 24-hour RNs and we have the appropriate people on staff all the time to make those decisions.
Okay.
Joel?
I'm sorry, one more.
Sure.
To get them to where they need to get, to the next level, you're not going to be doing Title 36 transportation demands of the police department. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, because that's been an issue in the past with our limited police officers, where we had to take someone to Yuma one time, which was outrageous, but state law required it. So, but you're not going to be doing that.
They're not going to be.
So you will provide the transportation.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Joel, would you explain that to us?
Oh, I'm sorry. Under Title 36, there's a process where if a medical official believes someone is a danger to themselves, generally speaking, they can do a petition. They can present it to the police department, and the police department, under the law, depending on how the petition is written and if everything is signed the way it's supposed to be, police department would have to take the individual for an evaluation to a doctor or a facility. So what I was trying to get at is this company, they provide the services for these patients. They're not going to demand, they're not going to use the police department as the transportation elements to get them to the next level. They got their own transportation because it takes, the chief will tell you that will take a lot of manpower, especially when we have 4 or 5 units on the road, and then we got to take one off the road to transport somebody. So that's what Title 30, it's Title 36 is health and safety under the Arizona Reside statutes.
No, go ahead.
So we heard the concerns from the community members about security. So this is not a lockdown facility where people are forced into the program or forced to stay in the program. It's an at-will program.
Correct.
You won't have the ability to control who wants treatment, who comes to you. Hopefully you wouldn't turn anybody away if they didn't live in the community. I certainly understand the concern of wanting to serve the local people first, but you have no way of controlling who's going to come to you for help. I don't really understand that you said you used artificial intelligence, which my senses kind of went up to that. It was like, ooh, wait a minute, what does that mean? I'm not exactly sure what that means other than cameras. What can you?
Yeah, there's AI built into the camera system. So we went with Verkada, which is just a cutting-edge camera maker, and they have AI built into the system. So it recognizes if someone's coming up and they're carrying a large object or they're moving in such a way that it actually produces an alert within the camera system. So whoever's watching the camera knows that something's happening, if you will.
If somebody becomes a danger to themselves or others, do you have the ability to lock them in a safe area?
Yes,
Okay, so
that's one of the conditions for the Arizona Revised Statutes, that we have a room for that. It's a seclusion room, and we do have the ability to handle that situation.
And then for residents, they're in the program, they've decided for themselves that they're done with the program. They can leave on foot, they can leave any way they choose. Do they sign an agreement that says you can't do this? Or, I mean, they're adults, they're free to come and go, I would think.
They are free to come and go. And we do, of course, when they come in, we go over what the policies are. We ask them to sign, that they want to complete treatment, so they have a consent to treat, but also to complete treatment. But sure, I mean, because it is not a lockdown facility, someone can decide 2 days in, I don't want to be here anymore, give me all my stuff back. They get their phone, they call someone, they come pick them up, and they drive away. They can walk away, and it does happen. We haven't had any incidents as a result of that, but it is certainly their choice. I can't force them,
It would be logical, that if somebody wants to leave, they don't want to hang around. They want to get away and.
Right, but it is a voluntary program, and they've done a lot to get there. So once they come in and they start having medications on board, then they stop having as many withdrawal symptoms, and they stop having some of the cravings and all of that. That's kind of the point of the detox, is to get them ready for, that next step in their treatment.
Yes.
Okay, building on that question, because that was my question. If somebody's there 2 days and they just don't want to be there and they want out, and they're not calling someone, so you can't stop them, they're going to leave, they're going out into our community. But if you think that they're a danger, possibly, potentially, to the community, do you have any kind of obligation, or will you call the police and notify the police that you're releasing or letting someone out who you don't believe should be walking around in our community?
We do have that policy, and we have done that on several occasions, yes.
Okay.
Okay. No other questions? All right. I'm going to ask for a motion.
Do you have to open it to the public again?
Open it back up to the public again? Do I have to open it back up to the
Well,
public?
you did let the applicant speak again, so if someone wants to speak on something that wasn't discussed already,
Okay.
or that something that the applicant brought up, they can address that.
All right, I will open up the public hearing again. Anyone want to ask or make a statement concerning? Don't see any, so I'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask for a motion for number 1523, case P 22-10PZ.
Your Honor, I move that ordinance number 1523 be read by title only and the reading of the entire ordinance be waived.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call, sorry.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes. Ordinance number 1523, an ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, conditionally approving a plan development major amendment, case P-22-10-PZ, a request by Axiom Care, represented by Rose Law Group, PC, to construct a new 3-story treatment facility on a general commercial by plan development B-1 PD property, adopting by reference that certain document entitled Zoning Conditions of Case Number P-22-10-PZ, authorized under ordinance number 1523 for the plan development major amendment of Axiom Care for the property legally described as and located at 150 North Ocotillo Drive, Apache Junction, Arizona, repealing any conflicting provisions and providing for severability.
Your Honor, I
Yes.
move that ordinance number 1523, as read by the city clerk, be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
And now do I have a motion for resolution number 22-14?
Your Honor, I move that resolution number 22-14, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, declaring as a public record that certain document filed with the city clerk and entitled Zoning Conditions of Case Number P-22-10-PZ, authorized under ordinance number 1523 for the plan development of major amendment of Axiom Care for the property legally described and located at 150 North Ocotillo Drive, Apache Junction, Arizona, be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
Okay. Old business. Presentation, discussion, and consideration of a purchase agreement of city-owned property at 978 East Roosevelt Street. Bryant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight, we're here to consider an item that's been something we've worked on for a number of years. It's a residential property at 978 East Roosevelt. It has approximately 2.5 acres and has been plagued with major code violations with an out-of-country owner. Rather than dealing with the violations and to avoid associated costs required to meet property maintenance standards, the owner adopted to donate the property to the city of Apache Junction in 2016. The city cleaned up the property and over time contemplated options on what to do with the property, finally deciding to sell as is. And in August of 2021, the city council decided to conduct a city invitation for bids. After a period of time, there were no bidders. It was then determined it could be better marketed with a residential agent and was listed on the MLS in November. And recently, the property was listed at $245,000. In April, we received an offer, and we made a counteroffer and have come to an agreed purchase price of $232,500. We are technically not under contract, as the counteroffer is contingent upon city council final approval. And staff is here this evening to request your approval for staff to move forward with the proposed contract and complete the sale of this property. Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes the report. We've been working on this for many years, and Janine and I are here to help answer any questions you may have.
Do we have any questions on this old subject?
No.
I think we all drove around and went there and talked about it and hashed it over and.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the purchase agreement for city-owned property at 978 East Roosevelt Street be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Can I have you
Yeah.
add to that motion? Is that the city manager be authorized?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, and that the city manager be authorized to sign all other documents related to the sale of the property.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, moved and reseconded.
All right. Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Definitely yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Janine's like, yeah.
New business, presentation, discussion, and consideration of resolution number 2215 regarding an intergovernmental agreement with Maricopa Association of Governments for design and assistance funding for a multi-use path. Liz.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Wilson, members of the council. Liz Lingenbach, Parks and Recreation Director. The Development Services Department and the Parks and Rec Department have identified an area that is eligible for design assistance funding through the Maricopa Association of Governments, the MAG's Active Transportation Committee. This area that we identified as part of our active transportation plan that the council had previously adopted. And this particular path is eligible for some very specific funding through MAG. We are interested in this path because it has a potential to connect our multi-use trail system that currently ends at about Silly Mountain to basically the eastern border of Apache Junction and connects us with Gold Canyon so that hikers, bikers, equestrian users can use that path and we'd have some connectivity. Additionally, our former Development Services Director, Larry Kirch, was very active in promoting the Bike Route 90 as that's a national bike route and wanting to be able to connect in with that. This helps us to do that in a much safer way versus it being a bike lane on Highway 60. Additionally, we learned from ADOT several years ago that the Lost Dutchman Marathon, which we all know is a major signature event for Gold Canyon and Apache Junction, just that we would really like to get it off the road as much as possible. It would help with traffic concerns as well as making it a safer experience for the runners as well as those traveling. So this map, I apologize, this was not in your packet originally, and so just to kind of explain, so this eastern edge is Superstition Mountain Drive, and then the proposed path is, again, we'd like it to connect to our multi-use trail system, which ends up in this general vicinity, but additionally, we would love for it to continue on into town, so that way as we look at our bike lanes and our other sidewalks, that it can eventually be connected up to that area as well. This particular grant is just for design assistance. So it's a 15% design. It lets us assess the path and find out what the actual costs will be. It will help us to be able to look at it as a phased approach if that's what we choose to do. It will handle some of our environmental clearance studies that have to be taken place. When we put in for this funding, we were not awarded the full amount. And so we shared with MAG that unfortunately it wasn't something that we budgeted for, and so we wouldn't be able to move forward with the project unless we could receive full funding. Later, former Development Services Director Larry Kirch put in for closeout funding with MAG, and that, at their encouragement for us to do so, they were able to give us the full funding of that. So I think that's unused funding. So we got that here very recently, noticed that we received the closeout funding, and that our portion was only 5.7% of what the grant would end up being. So in your staff report, we shared that the initial award that we received was almost $27,000. It wasn't enough for the full assistance or for the full design for this 15%. The closeout awarded us another approximately $45,000. Our portion is only $2,700.37. So this is really a tool to help us to know what we could do in the future. Additionally, it sets us up to ask for additional active transportation money from MAG for the full design or help with the full design at the next level, and then potentially for construction money, both from MAG as well as Arizona State Parks. I'm happy to answer any questions tonight. We are asked, so we are required to sign an intergovernmental agreement with MAG, and that's why it's before you today, not because $2,700 is certainly well within what we have in our budget, but for the intergovernmental agreement. Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah, Your Honor. Liz, so what I'm hearing you say, it's to our benefit to utilize this money that MAG is offering, because by doing so, spending their money that way, they will be more inclined down the road to help us if it gets to that point of whatever the construction of this pathway will be.
So correct, that is a potential, is that it puts us in line for other funding. But the second really important reason is that it helps us to know what the true estimated costs are, where there are areas that maybe aren't possible. This is already a current maintenance road that ADOT utilizes. They've given their support. So it really is also, so yes, while that's possible, it also helps us to know whether it's even feasible, whether it's possible to do.
Okay.
Yeah. My only comment is score. That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
We'll call
great.
for a motion.
Your Honor, I move that resolution number 22-15, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, authorizing the city to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Maricopa Association of Governments for design assistance funding for a multi-use path adjacent to US 60, US BR 90, US Bike Route 90 between Superstition, Mountain Drive, and Oldfield Road.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
thank you. And I'll now move number 4 with the flock up here now. And Chief Pulley. Before you get started, one of the things that I wanted to address was I received some, I'll say, comments, also a telephone call. And one of the things that they're very concerned about is, and I split up laughing when we said a targeted place was Walmart, as for we'd be having one of the cameras. And the concern was, number one, the information was going to be held for 30 days, and they were concerned about the aspects of, who would be and why would they be, or why would the police or someone be looking at a record of who comes and goes. The comment was made to me saying, well, if I go to Walmart 7 times during this period of time, are you going to flag me because I went to Walmart 7 times? And I tried to reassure them, but I want you to explain how the use of it and who has access. It's not to the general public. They can't see it. The only time it's used is if you have something specific, if you can explain how one of our officers would be able to go into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, I appreciate it. First off, I wonder if that was my wife that contacted you because she's always at Walmart. So, to answer your question, the only reason we would be looking at that information is if there was a crime committed that we needed to try to see if there was a vehicle that matched that description of whatever vehicle it was. It's not monitored 24/7. It is not something that anybody has access to outside of the police department. Only police department employees and specific employees are allowed to access this information for criminal investigations. So to answer your question on that, if there was a crime committed in that area, and the cameras aren't going to be at Walmart, but in the area on Apache Trail. If there was a incident that happened in the intersection on Delaware and Ironwood where It was someone pulled a gun out and they gave us a description on a vehicle. At that point, designated police employees, police officers or detectives could then look through the system to see if there was a vehicle that matched the description went through that area, which would give us a license plate, which would give us a way to start looking for whoever may have been driving that vehicle.
So Chief, just to clarify, an officer couldn't just open up a huge screen of all the cameras showing video or pictures and just browse casually to look at these. It's a specific purpose. The system knows who's logging in. They have to type in a purpose for why they're searching for a vehicle description, and it's all on that audit trail, and then the system searches through the whole thing to try to pick up that specific vehicle.
Yes, thank you. It has to be for like I said, a criminal investigation purpose. There is a reason that has to be entered in. There's an audit trail. This information is not monitored 24/7. It's only if we proactively are searching for it, or if there's a hit on the vehicle as a stolen vehicle.
When you say hit, you mean an alert?
Yes.
It alerts you.
Yes, so what'll happen is there's a National Crime Information Center. It's called NCIC. It's a crime database run and held by the FBI. Every law enforcement agency has the ability to put criminal information into this database that goes throughout the entire country, whether it's a stolen vehicle, if it's a vehicle with an amber alert, here in Arizona, a silver alert, a blue alert. If it's involved in a specific crime, that is put into the database. If that vehicle happens to be in the area of one of these cameras, it'll drive by, it'll take a picture of the rear of the vehicle, and it'll send an immediate alert to police officers that are working that day. This information is kept for 30 days. After that, it's purged. These cameras are not used for traffic enforcement. There's no traffic enforcement that we use these for. It's not like a red light camera or a speed camera. These are cameras that are solar powered. We have over close to 300 days of sun that they are solar powered. They have like a cell phone type device inside that if there's something that goes out, it alerts to our officers. Again, these are for felony crimes. These cameras are going to help us with finding people that have been committing major crimes, property crimes, person crimes, and that's what these are for. Again, the footage is only available to the public. Nobody else has access to this, only law enforcement purposes. Select police department staff are going to have access to it. We control all of that. We control who has access. We know why it's being accessed. We have audits that we can conduct and will conduct on our who is accessing it and why it's being accessed. The information gets purged, like I said, every 30 days. Other jurisdictions that have them here locally are Tempe, Mesa's getting some, Queen Creek, Maricopa, other cities throughout the valley. Most of these agencies, like Tempe, started with 10 cameras. Now they're at 28 cameras. It's proven itself. It's something that we know is going to be successful for the police department and for the city of Apache Junction.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things you didn't mention that I'd just like you to mention is that it's my understanding they don't take pictures like traffic control of the person driving so they can be sent a ticket, that it only captures the back of the vehicle?
Correct. That is
so,
accurate.
It's not used for traffic writing tickets or sending out citations in any way.
Not at all. Yes, you are correct. It does not take a picture of occupants of the vehicle. It's the rear of the vehicle and the make, model, color, any other identifying factors on the vehicle from the rear.
So basically, it's not a traffic control camera at all. It's just more eyes on the road to protect our community.
Absolutely.
And there's, you said, Chief, that there's a limited number of staff, or can any officer just access that with certain permission, or what's the process there?
So basically, if we give the officers or a certain police employee access to this, they are able to open up the website, pull it up, type in a license plate, or type in a description of the vehicle, date, time, location, and it timestamps it on why the officer has to put in a reason why they're doing it. Criminal investigation, reference a report number, and which creates that audit trail. From that point, it will send them if any vehicle matches that description, or if that specific license plate had gone through that designated area.
One other thing on that, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but it's my understanding that if someone else in some other state has entered into NCIC a vehicle that they're looking for, and if one of the cameras here happens to catch that vehicle coming into our city, then our local police will receive an alert on their computer in their cruiser.
Yes.
I'm waiting to see if there's comments.
Yes.
Yeah. So you say the 30-day purge on the stored information.
Yes.
But you, at the police department, you have the authority to store anything you want. You could go into that before it gets purged and say, okay, we're going to, I'm assuming investigation purposes, but you can, cherry pick anything you want out of those last 30 days and hold them in storage and not necessarily get rid of them.
That is accurate.
Okay. And now, earlier, you were talking about, so these cameras are designed to snap license plates and description of cars. Now, I was under the impression that, like if a crime was committed, a car was stolen, I call in and say, hey, Circle K just got robbed, brown sedan, I got a couple letters off the license plate, and there's a Let's Go Brandon bumper sticker on the back, whatever. But you would put that information into the computer, and then if that camera picked that car up a day later, or 2 days later, or 3 days later, it'll ping back to you, and it'll say, okay, that car was just picked up because of the information we have stored in our system about the description of this car. Is that correct?
We can create what's called a hot list with specific parameters for that reason, yes.
Okay. So, but are you saying also another use of this camera is just to access them to solve a crime?
Yes, that's the only reason for the use of these cameras.
So, yeah, but a crime that's not necessarily, so for a camera that's designed to snap pictures of license plates and cars and the rear end cars and makes the cars, you could also use these cameras to say, oh, this guy fled on foot after robbing the Walmart, this way, because you can access that camera to find out where the guy went.
I don't think I understand your question.
Meaning you can solve other crimes besides just the description of the car through these cameras.
Yeah, if we have a name of somebody, we can solve crimes. This just gives us an additional tool.
Sure. Yeah, right. So these cameras are not just a tool of catching just license plates. I mean, these cameras are the eyes and ears of everything around town. And if something should happen, you can go to those cameras and say, let's see what's going on over here.
If it's for a criminal investigation,
Sure, okay.
yes.
But to clarify that the cameras only snap photos of vehicles.
That's it, yes.
So it's not sitting there taking millions of, they don't go off and take pictures of people walking by the camera.
So it's not.
If they happen to be walking by and it took a picture of a vehicle in that moment and the person happened to be in the background, I guess, but they wouldn't know, I mean, you'd have to get real
But they can use it as
specific.
a tool to look into that.
No.
But are you saying, so what I'm hearing you say, Matt, is it's not on a continuous record. It's picking up license plates, but it's not just a constant feed. That's
It only takes snapshots of vehicles, the backs of vehicles.
As they pass it.
Correct.
Correct.
They don't move, no one has control.
Right, but I would assume logic would dictate that you would put these cameras in heavier traffic areas where it's probably taking 30 snapshots a minute, if not 40, if not 50.
Yeah, it could be.
So in a sense, you are getting, what do they call it, stop motion, right? So if something, say, oh, Like, for example, that tragedy we had over there, let's say there was a camera right there. You could go into that camera and find out the car, make the car and the license plate of the perpetrator. And even though it wasn't a situation where it snapped the picture and it binged you, you were able to access this to solve a crime, which I'd be.
A lot quicker, yes.
Right.
To
Which
catch
is
a
great,
homicide
which is great.
suspect, yes.
Okay.
And you know, just like any other building, there's cameras everywhere. With that investigation specifically, we were able to access a picture of the vehicle, the suspect vehicle, but all we had was a white car. We knew the date, time. If there was a camera, which in that area with one of these, we would be able to pick that camera up with a license plate, and this individual we would have had a quicker ID on him.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
clarify for me that that lady just told us that she has those cameras at that business, Axiom. Didn't she say that?
I believe it's different.
So,
different
but
company.
similar or the same kind of use or something like that?
Theirs is more for safety
Okay.
precautions. This is going to be one for helping us solve crime.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, these are already in our communities.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, and we're thinking this is something new, but they're already there, all over. So it's not like the police, AJ Police is asking us to do something that's not already being done.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Anyone else? Yes.
if I may. Chief, you're familiar with the Arizona Library of Archives, is that correct?
Yes,
And do they have a record retention schedule?
they do.
And do you know what that is for non-investigative information?
I do not offhand.
But it's not like 5 years, right?
No,
It's a lot
it's
less.
not. It's a lot less, yes.
So if you have some photos that never petered out for any kind of criminal action, you're going to have to destroy that, is that correct?
That is accurate.
And there's an audit procedure for that, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Also, are you familiar with Tatum and Lincoln in Paradise Valley?
I am not.
Okay, well, it's Paradise Valley, and I believe there is one of these types of cameras in a fake saguaro, and they warn people, you're on candid camera, but that's used just for, it's the same company, I believe, and it's used for criminal activity. So, and these are in Tempe also, right?
Yes, they are.
And you work with these for how many years in Tempe?
I helped get it established about 1.5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions? No?
I just had a comment, Your Honor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like Mr. Schroeder had alluded to, you know, in lieu of what's taken place in our community over the past few years with our officers, what's taken place this weekend, and then just knowing the community in general, sometimes these things can cause angst with community members. They don't, you know, like the photo radar and the red light, traffic lights and things like that. And when you're serving your constituents, sometimes you have to have the ability to put aside your personal feelings and your political feelings or beliefs and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And when we do that, we can get a little bit of a different perspective outside of what we would normally feel about something like this. And our police officers, and I hope that if people are watching or listening, the community members that may not be in favor of these, will think about this. Our police officers, just like a lot of the school employees here in our community, they have the exact same job that our neighboring communities have to protect our community members and keep them safe. But they don't have the same pay. So our police officers, and have the ability to go to a neighboring community and make more. But they have the same crimes to fight. So when I think about that, when I think about you have the exact same job to do here that you had in Tempe, but Tempe may have had a bigger budget, they may have had more hands-on, they may have had more technology, more equipment. Personally, I don't like cameras, I don't like when we have the red light, whatever. But in this day and age, I feel like we have to give our law enforcement agency as many tools as we can to help protect our people. And this is just one more tool to do that, to keep our people safe, to, if we have things going on in our community, hopefully get it addressed quicker, safer. So regardless of, my personal opinions or thoughts on cameras, to me, it makes sense. It makes sense for our officers, and it makes sense for our community. And when we see it's a grant, we're doing this on, starting this out on a grant money, it's solar power. I think the benefits far outweigh any potential abuse. And so I just think it's a no-brainer for me.
Okay, we'll need to have a motion now to pass this for,
Your Honor,
yes.
I propose the agreement with Flock LLC for implementation of a new public safety camera program be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
No.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay. Selection of meeting dates and times and locations. I have a motion.
Your Honor, I move that an executive session at 6 p.m. for Monday, May 16th and Tuesday, May 17th, 2022 be held in the City Council Conference Room located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard, Apache Junction, Arizona, and other meetings be scheduled if necessary.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
No. Or, yes.
No.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, I needed that smile. Okay, call to the public. I would like to remind everyone the call to the public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's a time for the public to express communications, comments, and suggestions. Requests to speak forms must have been filled out and handed to the city clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues shall be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Underneath the open meeting law, council cannot engage in a discussion of issues presented, but may respond to criticism and may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly and/or place the matter on future agenda for council discussion. There is a 3-minute limit for each speaker. And I've got two. Donna Carr.
Hi, I'm Donna Carr, Apache Junction resident. Somebody approached me after the meeting 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. Anyway, talking about the fact that trying to close down a lot of these trashy mobile home parks. And I said, well, I had one that was near me that they had rented some of the places out to drug people. So she said, well, you don't like them either then. I said, and it's not that. Yeah, I don't like drug people. I have a thing against them. But it's not just drug people that live in these mobile home parks. You got people who didn't make enough money over the years when they were working, so they have very little to live on with their Social Security. You got people like my friend Heather, whose mom, her brother, and her son all lived in one of those small campers. Single parents. You know, there's a lot more than just drug people that live there. And unless you can find better ways for them to be able to live or better places for them to be able to go, don't close down the only place that they have. Otherwise, they'll be homeless. So when you're talking about getting rid of the trashy mobile home parks, and I think somebody brought up about, well, maybe we can build tiny homes in there or something like that. So tiny homes are unaffordable. I mean, I have seen some that look like barns that would probably, I mean, if they were sheds and instead of using 2x2s, you use 2x4s and insulated the places, you could probably actually make them into tiny homes. But if the mobile home parks aren't going to do it, they won't do it. Their line is the dollar. And if they can keep those trashy campers going, that's what they're going to do. And as far as your cameras go, I'm sorry, I'm against it.
Well,
I don't know what happened to
no
our
personal
privacy that we used to have. I mean, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but at the intersection right there at Delaware and the Trail, I don't know how many devices are up on those damn poles that I think some are owned by the government. I don't know, some might be owned by the state. Those big drums, I was told that they listen for traffic. And I said, well, okay, how does that hear a battery-operated car? I got chuckled at. I said, oh, in other words, they can eavesdrop on the conversation in my home. Dang, you know what? I still believe in privacy. I'm still old-fashioned that way. And thanks for your time.
Mr. Schroeder?
George Schroeder, 244, West Virginia. So many topics. Wow. For anybody, you don't want to be inside my head because yours will explode. Where do we start? I'm not in favor of cameras per se because they're going crazy with them. I want to start this because it's fresh. These cameras are different. They're not the AI that the health people have. They're a little different. They're AI and that they do like your TV, serial, series, do. They scope in on those license plates. They don't care about the panoramic. They don't care about, what color your poop is. They don't care. They're not designed to care. They simply go after the license plate. For me, my expertise, one of them is drugs, drug people, and following them where they go. I've been doing it for 40-plus years. I've taken my share of these people off the street, which you don't know about. I have a life that you can't even believe before I met my Marilyn. I've given this new chief personal information about me that allows him to know that. I've done my service to the community, unpaid, unwanted, and I'm scorned for it every freaking day. No bulletproof vest, no badge. I just do it. My two neighbors put their houses up for sale because I'm in their business of keeping them from being crooks. I win. Another and another and another. I win. You understand? Okay? I win. This city's going to do exactly what I tell it to do. I want my streets fixed. I want my streets lined with crosswalks, sidewalks finished, all of that. I want it. I was promised that in the United States Constitution. But our current managers cannot find the money for that. That's terrible. That's malfeasance. We will be addressing that soon. So the cameras, they follow where the drug dealers go. They get the bikes. They got history. They can follow where the drugs go. That's what we want. I'm glad you passed it. I'm hoping it's not abused, but there's many other subjects, but I'm running out of time. But we're going to get these bad guys. Some are helping them that work in this city.
Any comments? All right. We'll adjourn. Thank you.